Hi, my name is Alexa Swinton. I'm Rock, your Goldenblatt from And Just Like That, and this is Young Entertainment Mag.
Hi, I'm John Harmon Cooper from Young Entertainment Mag. It's so nice to meet you.
I'm in the Isle of Skye right now, so let me see if I can show you. Here, I don't know if that is very clear, but it's like gorgeous and also very, very empty. It's also known for like the midges, which are these groups of flies that come and attack you. But it's also where I got my middle name from. So Alexa Sky Swinton. It's Sky Jacqueline Swinton. Idyllic Swinton. There's a lot of names in there, but the Sky is from Isle of Skye. So it's like it's great to finally be here. For a while, I was like, oh, I want to be known as Sky Swinton because I think it sounds cooler than Alexa Swinton. But that kind of died out quickly, and yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, I'm glad you're there and glad to see you. How are you feeling about season two? Season one was a big moment for Rock and for you as well. How are you feeling about the new season?
I'm really, really excited about it. I think it's been really, really hilarious thus far. Even as a person outside of the show, just watching it as a viewer, I think a few of the discussions on the show, like the MILF list, made me literally laugh out loud. I was dying throughout the entire episode. And I mean, like, it's just something like, I mean, it happens all the time. So it's like kind of funny to see, on the screen. And it was really hilarious. So I feel like the new season's like it's funny. I feel like it's also the groove of Sex and the City back again. I feel like you can really tell that it is Sex and the City and not just And Just Like That this time around, which I'm really excited about as well.
That's a very cool way of describing it. Tell me, how did you get your start in acting?
So, my mom, Ina Swinton, is a writer, producer, and an actor. She also used to be a lawyer, but then she had three kids, and being a lawyer and having kids have and having actor kids is kind of a difficult thing to do. So, she decided to help us with our career. But she used to be very much in the theater scene of New York before she had us. And so she, when I was 3 years old, was like, wow, she has a lot of energy and charisma. Like maybe she should be an actor because that's what she loved doing. And she was like, maybe my child would love doing that because apparently I was dancing and singing on the stairs of the Met. There's videos.
Yeah.
So she was like, let's just try it. And I ended up having a lot of energy and a lot of fun doing it. So I did a lot of small things. My first part was a character, a day role on Flesh and Bones, and Billions, a role that I have been doing up until about a month ago when the final season and the final episode was filmed. And so I just found my love in acting, and I was so lucky to find it so early.
Let me ask, if Sarah Jessica Parker herself called you and said, Alexa, we want to shoot a new scene, you dancing on the steps of the Met, would you do it again?
Oh, and of course. I mean, let's hope that there won't be weird stares, but I mean, it was so much fun. I don't have any memories, but I looked like I was having the time of my life. I don't even know what I was singing, but it looked like so much fun. I would 100% do it.
Amazing. Very, very cool. Let's jump to And Just Like That. You told us how season two, how you're feeling about it. Let me ask you, um, going back to your audition, do you remember what that process was like?
I do. It was at the peak of like, oh, maybe COVID's kind of slowing down. Let's try auditioning for new projects. So it was one of like maybe 60 billion auditions. But it was also one that stood out a lot because it was at the time people were talking about the reboot of Sex and the City, and it was like, oh my God, this is huge. We're getting the four girls back again. Actually, it was unsure, but we do have the four girls again. But they were like, oh, like we're really excited to see this. Like, what's it gonna be? We love reboots. It was part of the entire trend, and they were all very excited. So I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. It's like what everyone's been talking about on the news. I have an audition for it, but I had no clue who it was for. they obviously had to change the names because it was a huge deal. So they wanted to make sure it was a little bit of a secret of the storylines and things, because my audition scene was the scene in the bed where I was telling Charlotte, or Kristen Davis, that Rose at the time didn't feel like a girl. And so it was quite a big plot point, and no one wanted any spoilers. So I was like, oh, this is really exciting. I had no clue where the character was going to go. I didn't really know what the storyline was going to be, but I thought it was super interesting, and I was very excited to get a chance. And even funnier story, before they offered the part to me, they're like, oh, by the way, can Alexa skateboard? And I could actually, from Billions, where I had a series of lessons for like 2 months, and I learned how to skateboard in that time. And so I did it, and they were like, oh my God, that's perfect. Alexa, would you like to be Rock? And I had Rose at the time. I had a huge freak out. My grandma, who was like, oh my God, this is Sex and the City. This is huge. Because she was she watched it when it first came out. She was like, oh my God, I love this. You're Charlotte's kid. That is so cool. And it was very, very exciting. And I'm still excited to this day that I'm in it.
That's amazing. You talked a bit about that pivotal scene with Kristen Davis where you're saying that Rose does not feel like a girl. Did you know much or anything about the non-binary experience before taking on the role of Rock?
No, so I really didn't have, I didn't really know where Rock was going to go from that scene. Obviously, gender identity in real life is very exploring and figuring out who you are as a person. And so I really didn't know what it was going to look like for Rock, because everyone's different. And so I was happy and surprised. And really, honestly, throughout the entire season, I didn't really know what was going to go on until I got the script of that episode. So, I mean, like, I had no clue, but I was very happy with where it went, because I think it's wonderful to have someone on screen who is 13 years old, or maybe 14 now. I don't know Rock's age actually. On screen, exploring their identity, because it's really wonderful and beautiful to have something like that on screen, because there has not been someone that age on screen before exploring their identity. So I'm happy that Rock is one of the first to do it.
That is an awesome way of putting things. Tell me, what do you enjoy most about playing Rock?
I think Rock is just really, really sassy and really confident and really honestly annoying. And it's so much fun being that person. On set, they're always not, well, I mean, in life, I guess, in the show, they always have the funniest little comebacks. They're always kind of annoyed with everyone. And it's fun to be that person, because I don't really think I am in real life. I think it's more my sister. So I'm happy to be like her for a change. I love her with all my life. She's the best person in the entire world. And it's fun to try and be her for a few days.
Very, very cool. Tell me, is your sister older or younger?
She's older, she's the oldest, and she is very, very responsible and very funny, but her comebacks are like, what's like, she just has the best comebacks. And so I feel like I'm always kind of like her when I'm Rock, with like the snarky little comebacks that make everyone laugh, because that's her.
That's awesome. I am an only child, but I think an older sibling would be my preference.
Like Ava Swinton, that's my sister. She's like perfect. Like, I think she just like makes my life so much easier. I mean, obviously we fight all the time, but when we're fighting, I have to admit, like, she really does like make my entire life. Like, she does all the hard things for me first. Like, I got a phone earlier because of her. I can hang out with my friends later because of her. Like, all those things. It's like I'm super lucky that she got to experience everything first.
I totally know what you mean. Okay, so that's what you enjoy most about playing Rock. What's the most challenging part about the role?
I think the most challenging part about Rock is not really knowing when to stop having fun on set with the people I'm working with, because I work with people I love, and Rock is very lucky to have such a great family and great people surrounding them. But it's hard to know when to maybe be more serious, more businesslike, and more, oh, I'm working right now, and then also like catching up with Kathy about what she did when she was going on vacation in California. And I think it's one of the harder things about being on a set with people that are just so lovely and so nice, of one knowing when to just stop and be like, okay, this is time to work. And I think that's quite hard to do.
Yeah, you mentioned Kathy Ang, who plays your sister. Tell me more about what it's like to work with her.
Kathy is just so delightful. I think one of the things that I really, really love to see her do is she's just so serious about giving 100%. Lily is obviously a very musical person, and Kathy herself is a very musical person, and so she'll always be working a little bit harder to get in those extra final details to make sure it's perfect. And I really, really hope I can be like that someday. And if I have to sing or play the piano for something, or play guitar, because I can do all three of those things, I will also spend many hours in the trailer or at home working to make it sound just as good as she does when she's singing her little moody Upper East Side songs.
Very cool. Could there be any collabs between Lily and Rock or between Kathy and Alexa?
Oh man, I'd love that. That'd be so, so cool because I do release music. It'd be so cool for us to do something. But also with Rock, I think they're very enthusiastic about making fun of Lily for it. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe Rock will make a social media campaign for her instead of
Okay.
just really, really silly.
Very cool. I can get behind that. Let's talk about some of your other cast members. You mentioned Kristen Davis. What's it like to work with her?
Kristen is just such a lovely person. I think she genuinely cares for everyone so, so much. She is, when I first came onto the show, I was in a room full of adults who had known each other since the 90s, and I was a new little girl who's literally only 11. And it was kind of scary. And she came up to me and she's like, "Hi, Alexa. So lovely to meet you. I saw your tapes. I just knew from the moment I saw you, you were rock." And I, again, rose at the time. You were rock, and I think it's so so great to meet you. And she was like, "Please have any food you want," because there's like a great set of food from this like wonderful place in New York. And she was like, "Just make yourself feel comfortable. We're all so happy to welcome you to the family." And I think that really clicked it and made it so much easier for me to feel more at home and more comfortable with everyone there. And I think that just shows who she is as a person as well.
That is amazing. Very randomly, I actually graduated from the high school that Kristen went to in South Carolina. So I always love like seeing her on screen.
Oh my God, do they like have her like as a celebrity like alumni type thing? Like, do they
Believe
do that?
it, believe it or not, I sort of just found this out from Wikipedia, and like there is
Oh,
no trace of anything. Like I went into like there's this random cabinet with all like the school's yearbooks going back 50 years. So I saw stuff there, but otherwise it's like it's hard to find out. It's hard to find out.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my-
She was, however, she was really involved in the local theater scene there, and like I think made a big donation to one of the theater's fundraising campaigns. So like her presence is very much still felt in the theater scene there.
That's incredible. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. All right, that is Kristen. Tell me about the other leads of the show. So I found it interesting that Cynthia Nixon and Sarah Jessica Parker, when they were your age, they were also acting and performing. I think Sarah Jessica was maybe even an Annie on Broadway around your age. Have you gotten to interact with them at all?
Definitely. So Cynthia as a director has actually directed episodes where I have more scenes rather than not. So I've actually gotten a chance to work with her quite a bit. And I have to say that I think her experience as an actor and as a child actor makes her such a wonderful director because she knows all of the right things. She knows how to make you feel comfortable, and say the right notes to make you not feel stressed because you're really confused how to have more fun. Um, and have something much more direct and specific. And I think as her with her experience in the past of being an actor, I think and her current experience, obviously still, I think it's very very helpful to have that as a director, and I love her for that. Then for Sarah, I haven't had so much time to really work with her because I feel like I'm a lot of Charlotte storyline, and Charlotte Kid storyline, so it's a little bit different than the Carrie storyline.
Yeah.
But as an executive producer, Sarah Jessica cares so much about the actual set. Um, and taking care of all the actors and people on the set. And it's not in a way where it's like her publicizing her care for the people, but it's more of a private care where she'll make sure that um, like the food is good at the table reads, things like that. Small things where everyone is happy and it makes her happy to be there. Also, um, she also cares about like the little things, which I think is a big deal. Like what on set, like she'll make sure that the dressing, like what am I saying? The closet in Carrie's apartment looks real and lived in for the viewers to make it feel like it's real and lived in for them. And I feel like that's something I'd really love to like take in and do. And I learned that so early on. So now when I have a closet that is on screen, I'll know to make it make feel more lived in so that when I'm watching it, I'm not gonna be like, why are those shoes so perfectly placed and look so clean? That's not right. Because I think that's kind of real for all of us. My shoes are very dirty and definitely not placed perfectly in my personal dresser.
That is so, so, so relatable. Let me ask, since Sarah Jessica is both acting and working behind the camera, and Cynthia as well, is that like something that you could see yourself doing in the future?
Absolutely. So me, my mom, and my dad, and my brother, kind of my whole family, have a production company called Magical Productions, and I love directing, and I want to do that more. I'm actually going to explore that in my high school, but then for producing, I've already started to do that as well with a short film my mom wrote called Kooky Spook, which was all about her moving to America when she was 9. And I starred in it as little Ina Swinton, and I got to work on produce on that as well. So me, my father, Rolf Swinton, and her did that all together, and I thought that was just really fun. And I can see myself in the future doing a lot of behind the scenes work as well because I love writing so much. It's genuinely one of my passions. I want to be an English lit major with a minor in art history, but that's a minor. So, my major wants to be English lit. And so I would absolutely adore at Yale specifically, actually, because both my parents went there. So it's like my dream school and my dream place. But I've always seen myself writing, directing, producing projects of my own that I want to put out into the world exactly as how I see them in my brain. So
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited for that in the future.
Well, in addition to like graduating from Kristen's high school, I also went to Yale. So it's all around you. It's all around you.
It's all around. It's like a world of it. And I've gotten very lucky because my parents care so much about education. So I feel like because of Yale, I've gone there so many times. It's like I know that's where I want to live and where I want to go for 4 years. And so it's like, it's perfect.
That is beautiful. Tell me, how is it balancing school and shooting the show?
So it's definitely a difficult thing to do when you're working in school and working on a show because there's both levels of work coming out. So recently in the past year, actually, it's been way harder than previous years because I guess eighth grade's harder than seventh, sixth, fifth, and all the other ones. But I definitely have to work a lot at home as well. I've gotten very lucky. I've gotten great tutors who have been made it really easy to try and do work on set rather than just sit on my phone and watch TikTok, which is really, really easy to do because when you're working for 3 hours and you finally have a 20-minute break, you just kind of just want to relax and sit around, but you don't really have the time for that. So it's really great when they actually get you on and do your work. And so I got very lucky this season and I had a wonderful tutor, Sarah, and she made everything so easy and made my work a lot easier by printing out like worksheets of having to learn stuff. But it's definitely difficult because you have 20-minute increments that are required, but then they can be up to like however many hours as you want, but they have to be in 20 minutes. So sometimes I'll be sitting and writing an essay for only 20 minutes of time, and I'll be right in the middle of a thought, and they'll be like, no, 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 you need to go now. We don't have any time. And so it's like, it definitely makes it a little bit harder to get your work done. And to produce such high quality work. And I'm a little bit worried for high school in that, but I'll figure it out, especially because my parents are really, really on me about my work and they care a lot about education. I know I'll figure it out.
I'm sure you will. Back to Kristen for a second. Less so in season two, but certainly in season one, like those two characters were going toe to toe a lot and like really challenging each other. So, what was it like to like sort of have to take on this 20-year pro in this role?
I mean, I think it's just a lot of fun. I think it's a very stark contrast from how we actually are in real life. I get along with her swimmingly. I don't think we've had any spats ever. So that's good. But it's just fun. It's kind of, it's fun to have like little fights with someone who's kind of like another mom, and just, argue about things silly that are silly, like wearing a different outfit because, it's not something you want to wear, or ordering too much food at a time or something like that. It's like fun. And I think it's kind of silly, and it makes a real sense of like realness to the scenes and to the filming. That just makes it a really fun experience for everyone involved, I think.
For sure. Speaking of outfits, I gotta compliment the sweater. I love, like, are those studs?
Yeah. I think they're Swarovski crystals actually.
Oh,
So um on Monday, I was doing a shoot in Edinburgh, with like a very Scottish shoot. So we had a photographer from Scotland named, well, actually from Greece, but he lives in Scotland, named Vasilios Vatsako, I think. And then I wore all these pieces of clothes from Siobhan McKenzie, which is a beautiful, beautiful Scottish designer, and she creates all these amazing pieces. And she gave me this sweater. It's cashmere. I'm in love with it. I am so, so happy I have it, and it's insanely beautiful. So I'm so happy.
that is awesome. Um, Tell me about, did I hear that you had a bat mitzvah?
You did. So literally just like 2 weeks ago, I was in Israel on kind of a heritage trip. My mom has family there from when she lived in the Soviet Union when she was younger, and some of her family branched away to Israel, and then some of it branched away to America. And so a lot of her family went to Israel. So this year, I went to Israel for just over 2 weeks, and I did a huge tour of the whole place. I learned so, so much history, and I had my bat mitzvah. So me and my sister, Ava, got b'nai mitzvah, I think is when it's the two people. And we finally became women according to the Jewish history and law. So it was so much fun. We had the most wonderful rabbi. And we had so, so much family there. I met so many people I've heard so many wonderful stories about that I hadn't really been able to meet before, because Israel's, it's a bit of a trek, but it was so beautiful. We had an Apollonia National Park, which is this park that has all of these like Roman camps on the beach. It is insanely beautiful, and I had like the best day.
That is
So, so happy.
amazing. How did that compare to the bat mitzvah or they mitzvah and just like that?
So the mitzvah and just like that was so different, because all I had to do for that was sit next to Hari Neff and just talk, literally just randomly talk off screen, which was so much fun because she's such a lovely person. I didn't have to do any preparing at all. They left it all for Kristen because, like the part, Rock didn't have to do any work at all. They did not want to do any work. They didn't try to do any work. So it was just like whatever to them. And luckily in my own life, I had to study very, very little Hebrew. I only had to learn like maybe 6 or 8 lines because of my insanely wonderful rabbi, who decided that it'd be okay if we just read our lines from the Torah in English, which Rock did not do. Our portion was read in English rather than Hebrew, which is the hardest part. And Rock was definitely complaining about that because that's like maybe 30 minutes of just Hebrew, and it's so challenging. And I'm very, very lucky enough to do that. And I think Rock was kind of lucky didn't do it either.
Very cool. So let's do a few fun ones. What is your GRWM before shooting a scene?
Okay, so my biggest get ready with me thing is I have to sleep so much. I always make sure my hair is clean. I will have oatmeal with brown sugar and also a green juice to get me up in the morning. If I'm stopping by Starbucks, I'll actually get a strawberry acai light ice with no strawberries. And what was the thing? Raspberry sauce. So that'd be like what I'd get to wake me up in the morning. I will always be studying my lines quickly in the trailer with my mom because I don't always do that before. And then Also, washing my face and putting on my moisturizer is the must-have thing in the morning.
Very, very cool. Strawberry side, no strawberries. That's a hot take.
Oh, I know. I just think they're a little bit like frozen still when they
They
get in the
always
drink.
are. You're right. You're so right.
Ah,
They always are. All right. Let's do a rapid fire. We'll start with Starbucks. Tell me, what is Rock's go-to Starbucks order?
Rock's go-to Starbucks order is definitely a matcha latte, oat milk with one pump of vanilla because they can't do it without because it has to be sweet.
Very cool. Your favorite snack on set?
My favorite snack on set would probably be a chai latte, oat milk with two pumps of caramel. I also like it sweet. I don't really do. I love chais. I will just always do chai. So
Very cool. Three emojis that best describe Rock.
I think headphones, a lightning emoji because they're cool, and then I think the red mushroom emoji and a skateboard. Wait, skateboard. I take it back.
No, you get four. All of them.
All right.
And then here's a last rapid fire. Let's see a song that Rock is jamming out to on the subway or in the car in New York City.
Okay, I think this would be Passion Fruit by Drake.
Wow.
Yes.
Very cool. I
I
will admit I'm not cool enough to have heard it, so I'll have to check it out.
Oh, I know it's the best Drake song. Like that's definitely like number one Drake. I've been listening to it before it went viral on TikTok. I was there before. It was my 2020 car song. So I feel like Rock would jam to it.
Amazing, amazing. Before I let you go, is there anything else you want to tell people about yourself, about the show, Rock?
I think the biggest thing is to follow me on Instagram at Alexa Swinton. You'll see a lot of behind the scenes of Rock, my bat mitzvah photos, and a bunch of other stuff. And I think it's pretty cool. So you guys should go check that out.
Alexa, you're the best. Thank you so, so, so much.
I'm Alexa Swinton, and please don't forget to subscribe to Young Entertainment Mag. Bye.